Greetings and welcome to the Transform Podcast. I'm your host, Christopher Anastasio. This is episode 91, so welcome to our next episode in the podcast, and it is Tuesday, September 27th, 2022, and yes, September seems to have gone by in about 2 minutes, and we're now about to enter the last quarter of the year, amazingly enough. This Saturday, I guess it'll be October 1st. So welcome, guys. I just want to put in a quick plug for the episode that we published last week. Episode 90 came out on Friday the 23rd. Indeed, we did not get to 2 episodes last week. I'd hoped to get you episode 91 over the weekend. That didn't happen, so we only published 1 episode last week, and that was titled, What's TikTok Now? Looking back on it, that title might have been a little bit misread, potentially, if you read it a certain way. TikTok Now, the 2 words combine to form a noun, and that noun is a new feature that that TikTok has added to its platform. And TikTok Now, just giving you guys a little plug for the episode, I don't want to go into the whole thing again, is really a mirroring of a very popular feature on a brand new social media app called Be Real. And Be Real has this feature where, you know, if you have your phone up to take a picture of something that you're going to post, it also had a rear-facing camera or an opposite-facing camera that took a picture of you. And so it showed what you were doing when you took the picture, right? So it kind of got both angles, 180 degrees separated from each other or aligned from each other. So that feature was proving very popular, and people kind of wondering when were other platforms going to do something like that. And it looks like TikTok beat everybody else to the punch in terms of copying Be Real, and it now has that feature called TikTok Now. I would encourage you guys, if you're on TikTok or you're willing to go on TikTok, you want to go on TikTok, to take a look at this feature. It is definitely something that I think TikTok is trying to promote, and you're probably going to get some juice out of using it. Okay, so that's enough about episode 90. Today, guys, I just want to talk to you about kind of a simple concept that I think has been really helpful to me. I wanted to pass it on and share it with you guys. It's nothing groundbreaking, but it goes to this idea that I think we've alluded to a couple other times here on the podcast. I mean, we've never really made a complete episode out of it, if I recall correctly, but it's been something that thematically, kind of finds its way into some of my pontification about how you can work your marketing for your business, work this social media marketing while you're wearing 10 other hats or 20 other hats or 5 other hats. And that is using systematized approaches to accomplishing things that maybe don't naturally occur to you. So, for example, if you're busy with your business doing all kinds of disparate functions that have nothing to do with each other, it can sometimes feel unnatural, I guess, if you want to call it that, or inorganic, to break away from some of the tasks, let's say, that you're naturally inclined to do, or that maybe are clustered in some way, like, let's say, financial things that deal with your business or include your business. And then break away and go do social media stuff and get into like a marketing mindset. And so oftentimes I think the human psychology there is when it's difficult to do a task, when it's not a naturally occurring thing, we find ways to procrastinate. We just find ways to put it off, to say it's not that important today, we'll do it tomorrow, or we just never get around to it. And so the business never gets marketed, you don't create original content, you're not putting out any value. And your business disappears in the vast space of the internet. I mean, that's where you're going to go. I mean, that's the fate that you're going to meet if you aren't able to keep up some kind of production cycle. So one of the little hacks that I've kind of gotten into a groove with that I wanted to share with you guys that goes to this concept of systematization is, and I'll kind of walk you through it here step by step, and then we'll kind of take a step back from it and talk a little bit more macro about it. So what I like to do is, for an account that I run that has to do with finance and investing, what I like to do with little nuggets of information that I find that I think are helpful to the audience, right? I come across some breaking news here, or some historical data point there, or some outlook from an investing standpoint, that somebody really put some thought into. If I'm just working on my phone, and again, this works great off the phone, as you'll see for certain features that I'm about to describe. But when I'm working on the phone and I come across these things, even if I don't, I'm not planning to do this, I'm trying to maybe accomplish something else, or I'm just not in the mode to necessarily post at that moment, but I come across something that's helpful or valuable or could be informative to the audience, the first thing I'll do is take a screenshot of it. Okay, now I have an iPhone 13, so for me it's clicking those two buttons, one on each side, boom, take a screenshot. I'm not sure how it works on an Android, how you guys do screenshots or how different phones do screenshots, but for me, on the iPhone, that's what I do. So squeeze the two buttons, boom, now I have a screenshot of this piece of information that I think my audience would benefit from. Okay, so now it's in my photos. The first thing I do, and I do this in the same order every single time, go to the Twitter account, post the photo in the Twitter account. Now I may caption it with text, but oftentimes if I'm in any kind of a hurry, it's probably emojis at the most, maybe some hashtags. Obviously you want to put something in there. You don't want to just, slap the photo in there and send it. So you want to put something there, but the question is, how much time do you have? If you're moving quickly, you're probably not going to type out a full 280 character caption on Twitter. But if you can, great. If you can't, maybe a relevant emoji or two or some hashtags would be fine as well. So for me, it goes to Twitter, very short caption in most cases, post it. The next thing I will do is go to Instagram to Stories. Go to Instagram Stories, immediately pull up Stories, click into the camera roll, post the picture on Stories. Again, same little caption, probably identical to what I did on Twitter. Maybe some emojis, maybe a hashtag, maybe a mention of another account if there's another account involved, and then that goes up on Stories. Okay. Now, in rare cases, I might say this is also worthy of going into the news feed. So I may post it into the news feed and then make it into a story using the little, the paper plane icon. But in 90% of cases, I'm just going to go straight to Stories, post it in Stories, and because there's not a lot of context being given, I leave it at that and move on and go to the next platform. And the next platform, which you might be a little surprised at, is TikTok. TikTok has absolutely, from my experience, proven to be very friendly to taking screenshots of still images. I'm talking about like screenshotting a tweet, screenshotting an article on the Safari browser on my iPhone, something very static, throwing maybe some text or emojis on top of it, but in most cases actually on TikTok, I won't add anything to it. Actually, the thing that I've lately experimented with the most success is some kind of GIF, like a person thinking, or a person nodding their head, or a person, kind of getting upset. Something that has like some motion to it that then goes with the screenshot. So I do that specifically for TikTok, and then I go over to the copy, and again, maybe a brief little caption there, but what I've had success with is putting in lots of hashtags. So I'm usually putting in about 8 to 12 hashtags that are anywhere around the space of finance. They may not be directly relevant to the article, but they frame the finance discussion fairly well, and the thing that I posted fits somewhere in at least one of those hashtags. And the rest of them serve to catch people's attention, help me get more views, that kind of thing. And then that's it. So literally, as I'm working on my phone, let's say I'm creating a document in Google Docs, and I go to like reference something, and I just happen to see a tweet, or I happen to see an article that's really helpful to the audience, or something I'm very interested in. It's screenshot, Twitter post and short caption, Instagram Stories post and short caption, TikTok post with a GIF and lots of hashtags, and I'm done. And that sequence of events is going to take me 2 to 3.5 minutes. Okay? Now that I've totally systematized it, I don't even think about it. I know exactly what order I'm going to do it in, and then I just go into pure execution mode. And that has really been helpful for me to put out little, I don't even want to call them snack-sized content. I mean, that's like crumb-sized content. But even though it's not much, guys, it's something. And it's 3 pieces of content off one screenshot. Just one element, one item that I've come across on the web or wherever, on social media, becomes a 3-post, 3-publication asset that I've now put out onto my respective platforms, got my audience to take a look at, got some engagement going, particularly on TikTok. I mean, literally just in the last 24, 48 hours posted an article, not an article, it was a chart that showed interest rate activity since the 1970s. And it showed each decade what the interest rate was at the beginning of the decade and what the interest rate was at the end of the decade. So of course, if you're in the United States or you're following our economic situation here, interest rates are rising. There's a need to stamp out inflation. I mean, it's a whole thing. I don't want to go down the rabbit hole. But the point is, I saw this chart and I was like, oh, this is very interesting to see, like, oh, what were these rates in the past? Like, what was the action on these rates previously? And so posted that chart, like I said, put it on Twitter with like a thinking emoji. Same thing on Instagram stories with a thinking emoji. Brought it over to TikTok and put a GIF to it. And that was it. Put a bunch of hashtags on it and checked back the next morning and had over 3,000 views. So literally a screenshot of an article plus a GIF plus 12 hashtags equaled over 3,000 views. So that content cycle that I just went through there, those 3 things that I posted, like I said, it took me less than 5 minutes. And so I got at least, who knows what's going to happen with the Twitter and Instagram stories posts, but I definitely know I got over 3,000 views on TikTok. So systems. This applies lots of different ways, guys. In some of the previous episodes we did way back, probably like late 2021, early 2022, talked about big systems, like big content models where you have like pillar content, like a podcast or a long form video, and you do a lot of chopping and editing and you put it in all kinds of places. That's a system too. That's a more complicated one, but it's the same idea. It's taking the very same identical approach every single time to getting content published. So it starts at point A, it goes through, B, C, D, E, E, F, G, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then, whatever point you end at, that's the last post that you get out of it. Take a podcast, 30 minutes long, maybe you got 3 5-minute clips from it. You put those clips on Facebook and LinkedIn as a series, and you got a bunch of content out of it that way. Whatever the case might be, guys. But what feels comfortable for you and what works for you, turn it into a system that you religiously follow every single time. Don't do, like take the example I gave you guys. Don't do like Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, and the next time do TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. Keep it the same every single time. The one little variation I mentioned to you guys there about maybe doing in an Instagram news feed and then doing a story, very rare. Another rarity for me is I might tweet the item, then screenshot the tweet in order to expose my Twitter account. But again, that's rare. In most cases, I'm keeping things very, very simple, very, very streamlined, and it's screenshot, Twitter, Instagram stories, TikTok, done. Okay, guys, so hopefully this helps you. It gives you some framework on how you might be able to speed up and streamline some of your own activities and some of the things you're working on for doing more marketing. Again, this is not the only kind of content you should be putting out, like this example that I gave you of these tiny little crumb-sized pieces of content. But when you're not able to sit and do long-form videos, podcasts, whatever, this is a nice way to keep activity going on your accounts, show your audience you're still out there, you're still thinking about them, you're still providing value, you're still alerting them to things in your industry, and you don't disappear. And that's the key thing there. You're kind of holding the line, right? You're holding the line and you're making sure that you're getting content up there. Okay, guys? So hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. Would love to hear your comments on it. You can find us over on Facebook and LinkedIn under Pransform, Pransform, and then you can go to the website, pransform.com. And for the podcast, of course, we'd love for you guys to subscribe to it, share it, tell your friends about it. Really, really appreciate the support that we get on the podcast, one of our long-form content production areas for Pransform. So anyway, let me know what you guys think. If you have systems that are working for you, things you want to share with regard to systemization, would love to hear about it. Would love to know what you guys are doing. But in the meantime, not likely, guys, that we'll be publishing episode 92 this week. I think we're going to keep it on schedule with the odd, even kind of back and forth. So more likely than not, we'll be coming out with episodes 92 and 93 the week of October 3rd versus going into an even odd or whatever it is, odd even pattern this week. So if we do record episode 92, of course, you guys will know about it if you've got your alerts set up or you're checking in on us. But more than likely, we'll be back next week with 2 episodes. Okay, guys, so thanks again for supporting. Thanks again for listening. Hope everybody's having a great week. I know it's kind of the beginning of the week, but I hope the rest of your week goes okay and you have a great weekend. And I will talk to you guys again soon. Thanks. Bye-bye.